Oh, snap. That took a long time, StreamYard. What the hell is wrong with you? What's up, y'all? My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, I'm here every night. Hit the subscribe button, YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button, YouTube. Let's get 100 likes. TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. Like I just said, my name's Patrick, and we go live every night talking about all kinds of true crime things. Tonight, we have a mother load of things to talk about. I mean, craziness. Matthew Perry, Alexee Trevizo updates. Some parents, I guess their daughter was passing away, and they just were treating it with smoothies.
You what?
Mom of 3 allegedly red-rummed by the husband who claims she packed up and left. And then Beauty Queen, y'all remember this one? That's that lady, oh crap, what was her name? It's the one that like fled to the Bahamas, and she was like, oh, and she had like a boyfriend down in the Bahamas. Yeah, Beauty Queen accused of plotting her husband's, says she was by her new boyfriend. Sorry, y'all, it's TikTok, so I can't say the words, but it's going to get crazy as hell in here. It's going to get crazy as hell in here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Tap the screen like crazy, TikTok. Hit that follow button if you're new here. Oh, damn. You guys subbed it out. Let's go. Thank you for that. And let's get it going, y'all. I'm just going to shrink myself down. Enough talking, and let's go. Hope you guys are ready.
Actor Matthew Perry became a pop culture icon, playing the character Chandler in the legendary sitcom Friends. But Perry's rise to fame did not come without a price. He struggled mightily with addiction, both during the filming of Friends and afterwards. Matthew spoke publicly about his battles and wrote about it in his 2022 memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. Fans were heartbroken when Perry died in his hot tub in 2023 at the age of 54. His cause
it's too soon.
Of death, the acute
Fuzzy back, thank you.
Effects of the drug ketamine. After his death,
everyone
wondered, where did Perry
not the K
get the drugs that killed him? And today, federal prosecutors say they know the answer and have arrested 5 people, including Perry's assistant, a doctor, and a North Hollywood woman known as the Ketamine Queen.
Oh, hell no. The what?
You what?
How dare you?
Man, this is going to be crazy as hell, isn't it?
Tonight, we will tell you the story of how Matthew Perry was killed.
Sweet
I'm
baby
Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. It was very shocking. It was tragic. The death of Matthew Perry. We knew he had struggles with.
By the way, TikTok, entertainment and educational purposes only. TikTok, the overlords get crazy as hell. They took down a video where I was talking about how Gypsy Rose abandoned her cat. And I was like, she did, Tic-Tac? You crazy? Speaking of Gypsy Rose, y'all, we haven't talked about, there's no videos of her tonight, but she did leave a comment on my video from yesterday. And it was actually her profile. And I was like, oh, damn. It's crazy as hell. So I replied to it and posted a new video right now. So go check that out real quick. All right, let's continue. Sorry.
With addiction, but still just 54 years old, dying in his hot tub. And for many people, we looked at this death, we're like, well, how exactly did that happen? Did he drown? Did he pass out? Was he drinking? Were there drugs involved? And the answers raised more questions about who's responsible. It was similar when Michael Jackson died. That was another tragic death. Michael Jackson, too, had issues. You know, his thing was he needed propofol and wanted propofol to go to sleep, to get that good rest.
Oh, my God. That's crazy. Do people really use that for that? Isn't that the stuff that, like, you have to have, like a RT there because, like, you're going to stop breathing? My God, that's the eternal rest, Michael. Jeez Louise.
That he always wanted. He called it his milk. And
he needs some milk.
That is crazy. So the fuzzy pack, thank you. Thanks for the chickens.
And the death of Michael Jackson obviously could have been easily prevented. if in fact the person administering the drugs improperly would have been
You man, Callie, why'd you change the background? Because of that right there. No, just kidding.
paying attention instead of talking to his girlfriend all night on the phone. Well, that doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray, was prosecuted for what happened to Michael Jackson, and he served time.
Damn.
We covered the trial. So here we are now with Matthew Perry, and today, a little bit of an answer from prosecutors. 5 people have been charged. This is a federal case. And there was a press conference today where they spoke a lot about what happened, what they believe happened, and the evidence that they have in the case. But before I get to that, there's 5 people involved here, so I want to introduce you to them so you understand their alleged role in what happened to Matthew Perry. So let's take a look at this chart we've put together. We begin with Matthew Perry. All right, he's the victim in all this. He's the one who died from that acute effects of ketamine. Now,
crazy.
Someone else who's involved is Kenneth Iwamasa. Kenneth is actually Matthew Perry's assistant. And one of the things that he's apparently doing, according to investigators, and he's entered a plea, he's obtaining ketamine from different sources. But he's not just obtaining the ketamine, he's also injecting his boss, Matthew Perry, with that ketamine. So let's take a look at the first source and the first place that Iwamasa is getting this ketamine. And we go to one of the third person involved here, Dr. Salvador Plasencia, also known as Dr. P.
Oh, hell.
He allegedly
Plasencia?
injected Matthew Perry with ketamine, sort of training Kenneth in how to do it. He provided the ketamine and the equipment to Kenneth Iwamasa and taught him how to do it. So he would do the first injection, leave him with all the stuff. This is according to prosecutors, and then allow Kenneth to finish administering whatever ketamine was left over in the days that would follow. Now, there's someone connected to Dr. Salvador Plasencia, who is Dr. Mark Chavez, who sold ketamine to Dr. P. He also sold ketamine lozenges, fraudulent prescriptions, gloves, and syringes. So Dr. Mark Chavez is sort of supplying the supplies to the doctor, who is then giving them to the assistant who is administering it to Matthew Perry. That's one source of the ketamine. But apparently he may have been using a lot, so he needed more than one source. So,
dear Lord.
Go to the 5th person in all of this, and the 4th person who's charged, Eric Fleming. He's basically one who negotiates and executes the ketamine purchases between Perry's assistant, Kenneth, and the alleged ketamine queen. And he was sort of a middleman, a broker, and he
what?
would take his $500 fee. So he's sort of arranging the whole deal between Kenneth and the ketamine queen, who is the final person you need to know about. Jasveen Senga is her name. She's known in North Hollywood as the ketamine queen.
That is crazy. So imagine being known as that.
And allegedly sells...
Hey, Grandma, what were you known as? Well, back in my day, the ketamine queen. Just replied to your most recent video. Awesome. Did she really? That's crazy.
Liquid ketamine and unmarked, unlabeled.
I wonder if she's going to follow me. She might follow me, y'all. Oh, shit. Gypsy Rose, are you watching? Give me a follow at least. Come on. Repost it, Gypsy, please. You got 10 million followers, Gypsy Rose. Give me a repost.
Vials, and it's not clear where that ketamine is necessarily coming from. So those are the people involved. So now let's take a listen to the federal prosecutor here describe what they believe they uncovered here in figuring out how Matthew Perry was killed.
Following Mr.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Perry's death in October.
There was a flow chart, Virginia, but it was on YouTube. You couldn't see it if you were on TikTok.
Of last year, law enforcement, my office, and our partners represented on this stage began an in-depth, wide-ranging investigation. That investigation has revealed a broad, underground criminal network responsible for distributing large quantities of ketamine to Mr. Perry and others. This network included a live-in assistant,
Damn, they don't call it
go-betweens, 2 medical doctors,
they don't call her the queen for nothing.
and a major source of drug supply known as, quote, the ketamine queen.
Jesus.
We charged 5 defendants in this matter. These defendants took advantage of Mr. Perry's addiction issues to enrich themselves. They knew what they were doing was wrong. They knew what they were doing was risking great danger to Mr. Perry, but they did it anyways. On October 28, 2023, Mr. Perry was found deceased in his home. An autopsy was conducted following his death. That autopsy showed that he had died due to the acute effects of ketamine. Ketamine is a controlled substance. It has some legitimate uses, but it is also used illegally.
Mm-hmm. Like those, like the damn, what's that stuff? Like the keyboard cleaner stuff, y'all? When people spray off, like you're supposed to spray off your keys, get the dust out of there. There's people doing crazy stuff with that. What? Holy hell. Lim Ray. Is that Lim Ray Lim? What you doing? Great to see you. Let's keep it going. By the way, TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. Tap the screen like crazy. Thanks for the 2 funnies. Hit me with them, y'all. Hit me with them right there. They're pinned. YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. Tap the screen, or not tap the screen. Tap the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button as well if you're new there. Y'all, we only have 37 likes on YouTube. I'm about to have to end the YouTube live stream. You just have to come over to TikTok and watch it. Come on, y'all. Get them likes up. Let's keep going.
Used by people seeking to disassociate from reality. It can cause serious health effects, serious health problems, including loss of consciousness, including spikes in blood pressure, and including respiratory issues that can deprive the brain of oxygen. For that reason, it is a drug that must be administered by medical professionals, and the patient must be monitored closely. That did not occur here.
Whoa.
This investigation focused on who supplied the ketamine to Mr. Perry. The investigation revealed that in the fall of 2023, Mr. Perry fell back into addiction, and these defendants took advantage to profit for themselves.
Oh,
the 2 lead defendants in this case are defendants Salvador Plasencia and defendant Jasvin Sanya.
Damn, y'all. They knew that he was addicted to that stuff. And they hit him with the "I'll be there for you." And he was like, shit. And they just kept like a big old cash cow, basically. That's crazy as hell. Well, y'all, hold up. Here, I got you.
Thought you were smarter than everybody. You up.
Damn.
First, I'll talk about defendant Plasencia. Defendant Plasencia was a medical doctor. He worked with another medical doctor, defendant Mark Chavez, to obtain ketamine. He then worked with Mr. Perry's live-in assistant, defendant Kenneth Iwamasa, to distribute that ketamine to Mr. Perry. Over 2 months, from September to October 2023, they distributed approximately 20 vials of ketamine to Mr. Perry in exchange for $55,000 in cash. Defendant Plasencia saw this as an opportunity to profit off of Mr. Perry. He wrote in a text message in September 2023, quote, "I wonder how much this moron will pay."
You what?
Man, that's crazy as hell right there.
He also stated in text messages that he wanted to be Mr. Perry's sole source of supply. He wrote in a text message that he wanted to be Mr. Perry's, quote, go-to for drugs. As a
Oh, hell.
doctor, defendant Placentia knew full well the danger of what he was doing. In fact, on one occasion, he injected Mr. Perry with ketamine, and he saw Mr. Perry freeze up and his blood pressure spike. Despite that, he left additional vials of ketamine for defendant Iwamasa to administer to Mr. Perry. Of course, defendant Iwamasa had no medical training to speak of.
Man, that is crazy as hell.
Defendant Placentia knew what he was doing was harming Mr. Perry. He had spoken to another patient in mid-October 2023, and he told that patient that Mr. Perry was spiraling out of control with his addiction. Nonetheless, defendant Placentia continued to offer ketamine to Mr. Perry. Likewise, defendant Sonia knew what she was doing was harming defendants and also Mr. Perry. She took advantage of Mr. Perry by selling large amounts of ketamine to Mr. Perry over a 2-week period in October of 2023. She sold approximately 50 vials of ketamine for approximately $11,000 in cash. She worked with a broker, defendant Eric Fleming, and also the live-in assistant, defendant Iwamasa, to distribute.
You're going to take Matthew Perry away from this world for $11,000?
You what?
I mean, I know times are tough. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I get it. A gallon of milk is $8 freaking dollars, but $11,000 or Matthew Perry, and you chose $11,000? Man, that's crazy as hell. Oh my God. Get a paper route. You make that same amount. Get a little exercise too.
Bruh.
That's crazy.
Is ketamine. Sonia and the broker, defendant Fleming, saw this as an opportunity to profit off of Mr. Perry. In a text message, the broker wrote, quote, "I wouldn't do it if there wasn't a chance of me making some money for doing this." Defendant Sonia sold the batch of ketamine that resulted in Mr. Perry's death on October 28th. Officers later searched defendant Sonia's home. During that search, they found what amounted to a drug-selling emporium. They found 80 vials of ketamine.
Dear God, not an emporium. That's crazy as hell.
Thousands of pills containing methamphetamine.
Oh God.
Cocaine.
Jeez Louise.
Bottles of Xanax.
Oh God, not them.
And other illegally obtained prescription drugs.
Sweet baby Jesus. They didn't have any Advils though, huh? You got any Tylenols? Nope. You didn't get that Pepto-Bismol? Hell no.
And drug-selling paraphernalia, including scales and ledgers.
Oh, you're going to burn in hell for that one.
As I mentioned, the defendants in this case knew what they were doing was wrong. When they'd refer to the ketamine, they used coded language. They'd refer to it using terms such as, quote, Dr. Pepper, or quote, bots, or quote,
Dr. Pepper? Oh, hell no. Damn, they came out with the, oh, he needs $11,000 worth of dirty vanilla chais. What?
quote, cans. Also, defendants Placentia and Chavez, as medical doctors, knew full well this was not the proper way to administer ketamine, and they even talked about that in their exchanges.
Man,
and
y'all
defendant
crazy
Sonia
as hell.
also knew that she was doing something that caused great risk to Mr. Perry. In fact, during this investigation, we learned that several years before, in 2019, defendant Sonia had sold ketamine to another customer. That person died the same day. And a family member of that person sent a message to defendant Sonia telling her the cause of death was ketamine. Nonetheless, defendant Sonia continued selling drugs, including ketamine, including the ketamine that ultimately killed Mr. Perry.
Jeez Louise.
After Mr. Perry died, these defendants tried to cover up what they had done. On October 28th, after reading news reports of Mr. Perry's death, defendant Sonia wrote a text message to defendant Fleming saying, quote, delete all our messages.
Oh, hell no. Man, she hit that whole group with the...
Likewise, after Mr. Perry's death, defendant Placentia falsified medical records and notes to try to make it look like what he was doing was legitimate. It was not.
Oh,
Unbelievable. Let's bring in our
hell
think
no.
tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy. Also joining us, retired criminal defense attorney Kirk Nurmi and former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. Great to see everyone tonight. Tragic story. Obviously, it's very high profile because it's Matthew Perry, but this investigation uncovered some really nefarious things, especially when you see doctors involved in all of this and going after the so-called ketamine queen. But Nima, I want to begin with you as a former federal prosecutor. How do you see everyone's responsibility here? Because they had to flip some people, including the man who's injecting Matthew Perry,
That's nuts.
his assistant. So how do you see everyone's responsibility for what happened to Matthew Perry here?
Good question. Donna, thank you. I grew them myself. Actually, my mom grew them. I just keep them moisturized now.
Well, I think that at the top are the ketamine queen, right? Here's someone who allegedly killed someone in 2019, Cody McKellen, and was responsible for providing the fatal dose of ketamine that ended up killing Matthew Perry. So she's got to be at the top of my list. And of course, she's also distributing allegedly methamphetamine. So all of a sudden,
hell no.
she's looking at a potential life sentence in federal prison because she is now involved in 2 drug-related deaths on top of the methamphetamine. Then you got to look at the doctors.
Adios.
Right? I mean, they took an oath to do no harm. And not to say the drug dealers get a pass or the assistant gets a pass, but you're a medical doctor, right? You're taking advantage of someone with a serious, documented, public opioid addiction, right? They're taking bottles of ketamine that cost them $12, Vinny, and they're selling them for $2,000. And they're
Lord have mercy.
mocking him and laughing at him. So they're responsible for perpetuating his addiction. Let's not forget, ketamine is a liquid. It's supposed to be administered in a doctor's office through an IV. You don't give it to your patient to take home. You don't give it to his assistant. I mean, this is beyond the pale when it comes to medical care. And really, this is one of the reasons that although a lot of doctors swear by ketamine and say it helps anxiety and depression, there's a lot of people that think it's a dangerous drug. And it was once a horse tranquilizer, and it's now probably one of the most abused party drugs over the past 10 to 15 years.
Oh my God, that's crazy as hell.
Eklund Mercy, the reason I like high-profile cases like this and I like strong prosecutions because I believe in deterrence. Do you think the high-profile nature of this may deter someone from becoming the next ketamine queen or the next...
Right? Oh, TikTok got mad that they kept saying that word. They said live restricted for some audiences. How dare you speak about things? You can't speak about things.
Doctor from abusing their license?
Sorry, no. I think that if we have a demand, there will always be a supply. Unfortunately, Mr. Perry has had issues with addiction for decades, and it has been known for decades. Now, anybody who is familiar with people who have addictions, right? They understand that it doesn't matter what. If you have somebody who's addicted to something, they will move heaven and earth. It does not matter if it's $12 or $5,000, they will get that money. Now, the issue here is that when you have somebody who has deep pockets, when you have somebody like Matthew Perry, the issue here is that the argument that they knew or knew of, it could be so that they were trying to protect him. Now, I've represented some people who, hey, they have high-end clients and high-end, people who need it. However, when you have that addiction and they don't have somebody that they can trust to get it, in their minds, they feel like they are protecting him from being murdered or being robbed or being...
Damn.
what have you. So although they are talking about it, we've seen it often. It's like, this is not just a regular person off the street. You know, he's friends. You know, he is the friend. So he can't just go out on the street and say, can I get a little? No. So I think that they use that. Do I believe that it's connected to a murder? No. Do I believe that it's connected to his death? No. Unfortunately, you know, those who have addictions understand, you know, the end. Unfortunately, there's a bad end, but I believe it's a RICO case. But do I believe that it's connected to his death? No. He has been very vocal with his issues with addiction for decades. So I think it's going to be a hard hill to climb.
Did she wait? Hold up. Did she say, okay, because he struggled with addiction and he's come out publicly saying that if these people are doing what they did and it aided in him being passing away, that they have no, the people who gave it to him have no responsibility, or they have a hard hill to climb? What the hell are you talking about? That's like saying, you know that law that if you go to the bar and the bartender overserves you and then that person, or you know, somebody gets overserved, they drive home and get into an accident and take someone's life, then that family can sue not only the person that was driving, but the bartender and the establishment, because it's, man, that's crazy as hell. That's crazy. Let's continue, shall we?
Kirk, do you see these defendants, the queen, the ketamine queen, and the doctors going after Matthew Perry, blaming him, blaming his assistant in all of this?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tough road to hoe. I think their best defense, if you will, is to try to cut bait, to try to snitch, to try to get a plea, because we got her. And I think that that's probably what's going to happen, because we're calling these people doctors in the name they are. But let's face it, the way they were running the operation, they were drug dealers like any other that you might find on the street. They just happen to have white coats and MDs on behind their name. So, you know, they're going to be looking to scramble to save themselves. They're going to have that mentality. So I don't know that they have a good defense here, but it's going to be every drug dealer for themselves trying to get that plea offer.
Just like any other drug dealing case. Well put.
That's what I'm saying, y'all.
Kirk.
Oh, man. What do y'all think about that? That's crazy as hell. By the way, TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, we're live every single night. Y'all, we hit them 2 funnies. The live stream got restricted, so, you know, we gotta let TikTok know to spread some more love. Or do I end it and come back? Is that what you're supposed to do, y'all? I heard that's what you're supposed to do. You like end the live stream and then kick it back on. Should we try that? We should probably try that, huh? Restart it. Okay, I'm going to do that, y'all. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. And YouTube, while I'm doing that, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, because we only got 73 likes. We need 27 more. 27! Let's get it. And we're going live on TikTok again. All right, let's keep going. Or let's wait for TikTok, y'all. We're live again. Okay, notifying viewers, I've gone live. You guys ready? TikTok coming back in. TikTok coming back in. There it is. Y'all tap the screen like crazy. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. Here we go. All right, what's up next? Well, let's just jump into it. I think it's Alexee Trevizo.
Court TV has obtained more video in the case of Alexee Trevizo.
The
then teenage mom who allegedly dumped her newborn in a hospital trash can is facing charges. We now have recordings made by detectives interviewing the staff there at the General Hospital where Alexee was being treated. This was months after the baby was found that these interviews happened. Trevizo, who was 19 years old at the time, has been charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence. She has been released while awaiting trial. Let's look at those interviews here. Detectives are talking to what the charge nurse said about finding the newborn in the trash.
Oh, damn. Shout out to the charge nurses. Get that extra couple bucks an hour.
It was a regular night. I remember she came in with back pain, and they had put her in, they were going to treat her in triage 1 with some regular medications for back pain. But after the doctor examined
How many of y'all nurses are in triage?
her, she was a little concerned, I think, because of her heart rate, some other things. So she wanted to move her into a room and do a more extensive workup, which is what they did. At that point, I don't really know anything because she's taken out, she's not really my patient. Okay. So I know that Chris had her. I know that he came to me and said there was some issues because they had ran a pregnancy test on her and they found out she was pregnant. And she was adamant, the mother was in the room with her and was adamant that his diet to.
Did you see that? Or did it was...
No, Chris came to me and told me this was what was going on because we were having an issue.
Okay.
And he was worried about the mother, the dynamics between the mother and the daughter because the daughter was completely denying she was pregnant and the mother was relatively upset about that she was pregnant.
Okay.
So
you're talking about Chris Sanchez.
Chris Sanchez, yeah. And
oh snap.
So I told him, well, as long as she behaves, okay, if it's gonna make her, and he goes, yeah, she's okay. I think it's gonna be fine. So that's the last I heard of it. The next interaction I had was I had the tech, which was Lori Aragon, come and tell me, HT, you need to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. There was quite a bit of blood in there. So this was after she came out. She went to the bathroom, was in there for a long time. And Chris was telling me, she won't come out. So I told him you need to get the key because the bathroom's locked. And so he told her he was going to get the key. And so she came out. But there was some blood in there.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Y'all, this is the Alexee Trevizo case, by the way, in case you're wondering. And TikTok, we got a bunch of people coming in. Make sure you hit that follow button. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime, I'm live every night. Y'all, we had to restart the live, so let's get the likes back up. And hit me with those 2 funnies, y'all. Let's crush that real quick. 111.
So I went to Dr. Vakas and told her, I was worried that she did something to herself physically in the bathroom. And then I told Lori, call housekeeping. They got to come clean this up. Which time she called Leela, who was on call for housekeeping.
Wendy, thank you.
Then I was just sitting there, and then the next thing, Lori comes and goes, HT, oh my God, you better come to the bathroom. And I go in the bathroom, and she goes, something's in the trash can. I'm like, I looked in there, there's a clean liner. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, pick it up. I picked it up, I could feel the weight. I knew then we had a serious problem. I immediately just grabbed the trash can and went right across the hall. There's trauma 2. There's liner was pulled.
Shout out to the trauma nurses too. Baby Lou, this is the Alexee Trevizo case. And thanks for hitting the subscriber goal, y'all. Damn, we did it. Thank you.
Out, but there was another trash bag in there in the bottom, but it was all it was rolled up. So I had to tear it apart. And then, of course, I saw the baby in there. So I pulled the baby out, got him on the bed, checked for signs of life. There was absolutely no life whatsoever.
No.
I immediately came out of there. After I did that, went into the room where she was performing the vaginal exam, and I immediately told her, you have to come out now. And she came out, and we went into trauma 2, and she reassessed the baby. At that time, between me and Chris and her, we determined, there was no reason for us to begin any life saving. The baby was completely gone.
Oh, so difficult.
Unbelievable
To hear that all detailed by that hospital worker. Let's bring in to discuss this someone with medical expertise that can help us break this down. Forensic pathologist Priya Banerjee is with us. Priya, thanks so much for joining us. I first want to ask you, from a medical examiner, coroner standpoint, is it going to be easy for the state in this case to prove that this was a live birth and then the death of a child versus stillborn, which we anticipate may be the defense here?
That is the money question, and it's extremely hard to prove. You really need to look at not only the baby as it normally formed, how far along she was.
Nurse KK, thank you.
But you're looking for any developmental abnormalities, and then really you want to see if the body reacted to the outside world, and we look at that under the microscope. But those are very subtle changes, and oftentimes we end up being undetermined, meaning we can't tell even with all the testing we've done. And I'm speaking from experience, having handled
Oh, hell, that's crazy.
cases like this.
Oh, wow. When you're hearing that interview that we just played, what's standing out to you? We've got the hospital staff worker kind of talking about the time period that the defendant left the bathroom, and it seems like not too long later they went in because they saw the blood, and that the baby was wrapped up in this, in the trash bags, in the liner there at the bottom of the trash can. You know, we've seen stories where miraculously babies survive falling, being thrown into a dumpster. We've seen that story here on court.
Oh, remember that one? I remember that girl. She threw the baby in the dumpster. That happened in New Mexico, I think, also, didn't it? That's crazy as hell.
TV, but it seems like
Oh, by the way, TikTok, if you want to watch the video with us, you can actually see the video on YouTube. Just search The Mystery Project. The Mystery Project. Type that in on YouTube. You'll find the channel. We're live right now. YouTube, Rumble, X, everything. Come on in.
in a relatively short period of time you have this death. What's standing out to you when you hear that interview?
Right. So the good thing is the baby's body should not be decomposed. It should be relatively intact, fresh after birth, and that makes it better as an autopsy time to be able to decipher changes. Obviously, it's so disturbing as a mother myself, and obviously a pathologist. But I think the critical thing is, what was she hiding? She knew that she was pregnant. I just can't believe that she didn't know, having given birth at least. And then, did anybody hear the baby cry? That's going to be a critical issue. Did she try to suffocate it with the bags? Obviously her statements are going to be suppressed. And really that's where the investigation is going to come into play. I don't know.
Oh, hell. Janet and Susanna, this is the Alexee Trevizo updates.
If more staff were around other than these leadership staff that they're talking to.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those statements because that's going to be an important part or not a part now of this case. But let's listen back to the nurse talking about Trevizo being bloody and being worried in this case.
She came out of the restroom. There was a little trail of blood from the bathroom back to her room. We went to her room. I went to get her undressed. The doctor came in, explained to her that she had a miscarriage. Her and her mom had a back and forth about it.
The doctor said she had a miscarriage?
Yeah.
Okay.
She said it seems essentially like, I'm not sure the exact words, so it was a few months ago, but she said, it seems that you've suffered from a miscarriage. Which didn't seem totally abnormal. I've seen awful miscarriages before that are very bloody.
Right.
And so...
she bloody?
Mm-hmm. And then there was...
legs
she had blood all down her legs, and then there was blood in the bathroom everywhere. She was just worried. She was asking what was going to happen. I told her, obviously, I did not know.
Is this when you found out she was worried about getting in trouble? Did she tell you anything
She didn't say anything about what had happened. She was just essentially worried that she was just going to get in trouble.
Now, there were some statements that she made in front of doctors where she said, quote, "I'm sorry, it came out of me. I didn't know what to do." Her defense said this is privilege because though it was said in the presence of police, her doctors were around, and that's who she was speaking to. And Dr. Banerjee, can you speak to that privilege and whether or not you think that type of comment should...
Yo, that's what the defense attorney was trying to say, is that she said that stuff. It came out of me. I didn't know what to do, to her doctors, but the police were in the room, and so it was a HIPAA violation. She was talking to her doctors about her treatment, and the police shouldn't have been in the room to hear that. What? Oh, what do you think?
Be used in a trial against her.
Yeah, I think we're extending beyond my area of expertise, but obviously I'm going to bring the medical slant. And that, to me, when the presence of doctors, seems like it's medical information, even if the police are present. I think if I had to be in the patient's mindset, that's what I think she was trying to communicate to the doctors. And so the defendant is the patient in this case. And that is a very interesting technicality that I'm not aware of. Does HIPAA apply in this instance? But if it's
that's the big thing, y'all.
allowed, I think that's very damning, because she didn't tell the nurse after she got out of the room that she had delivered the baby, right? She's talking about more miscarriage, which I think isn't as far along as what we know, delivering a full-formed baby. So that, I think, is where the status of her statement is going to be critical.
And who knows if she's going to take the stand to explain herself if this goes to a trial. Are you surprised that the labor pains didn't bring her to her knees? I mean, she's running into the bathroom there. She doesn't call out for help. No one really hears a scream or anything. I don't know if that says anything about her resolve, but just your thoughts on the state of mind of this very young girl, 19 years old, who's going through a birth.
I can only smile and say, as someone who's been there.
Damn, that's true. Fuzzy Pack, thank you. Y'all, I can't even imagine. I'm a dude, right? And like, if I get a cold, it's like game over, right? Like, I feel like I'm like, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door, right? And then she gave birth walking out the damn hospital room into the bathroom. Holy moly.
Both with patients and myself, it's not easy. So I think different people feel pain very differently. And maybe because of her fear, she's able to suppress anything that she's truly wanting to say or scream out. I think the fear factor was really trumping everything. And you can see that she's running, but it is amazing
she was more scared of her mom finding out she was pregnant than the fear of or not the fear, but the pain of giving birth. That's crazy. Donna, thanks for the love you. Appreciate that. Y'all, we got to hit the 2 funnies. Come on, TikTok. Let's go. I thought we could crush that real quick, and we've done 2 live streams now, still waiting on it. Let's get them, y'all. And hit the follow button if you're new here. Tap the screen like crazy. 10,000 likes. YouTube, not even 100 likes yet either. Oh no, y'all. I had so many videos planned for tonight. 6 more people hit that thumbs up button on YouTube. Let's go.
the contractions of delivery, that she's not crippled in pain. She's not doubled over, grabbing her stomach, anything like that. She really doesn't make any movements, indications that her stomach is hurting her.
Suzanne, Kevin slot. Thank you. Damn, that was it. Ooh. Let's move on to the next one, y'all. This says, dying girl treated with smoothies. What were the parents thinking? Oh, God. The hell is this? Y'all, 2 more people hit the thumbs up button on YouTube. There we go. We're at 104. Thanks, y'all.
Now for what's trending in true crime, a Texas couple finds themselves in the headlines this morning after the death of their
not Texas.
Their 12-year-old daughter, whose life-threatening injuries were treated with smoothies. Police say Miranda Sips.
You what?
Her last name is not Sips, y'all.
Injuries were treated with smoothies. Police say Miranda Sips, a junior high cheerleader, was pronounced dead hours after first responders arrived to find her unconscious. Investigators believe that Sips suffered severe injuries, including injuries to her neck, 4 days before she died. Her mother and her stepfather, according to police, failed to seek medical attention in a timely fashion and instead tried to treat their 12-year-old daughter with vitamin-packed smoothies while the girl was still alive but non-responsive.
Man, you're going to burn in hell for that one. That's crazy as hell. Oh, you broke your neck? Here's a Jamba Juice. Shut up. Are you crazy? Look at her face right there, too. He's looking crazy as hell, too, but look at her face. Jesus. Mary and Joseph. Send the asteroid, Lord. Send it. Send it. Armageddon, this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Willis going up there, drilling into it was fake, y'all. Send the real one. This is horrible. This is horrible.
I will not, at this point in time, go into...
There's a Texas Ranger right there. Get it.
The injuries.
Atascosa County? Where's that in Texas? That's probably South Texas, huh?
Detail on the injuries or how they happen, because I'm not 100% sure. And I don't want to sit up here and tell y'all these injuries happened this way, and I find out that they happened a different way. So we're going to get to the bottom of it before we address how the injuries occurred. But it's to how the injuries occurred exactly.
Yeah, that's down by San Antonio, isn't it? I think so. Let's keep going.
You know, we still have a little bit of doubt. We need to figure that out before I'm standing up here and say, yes, it happened this way. We know what she told us.
Okay, and by saying she, the sheriff is referring to Sips's mother and what she told police. So let's talk about your reaction to this case. What do you think about it? I want to welcome in my power panel now. Still with me, retired criminal defense attorney Kirk Nurmi. Want to welcome in law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter and psychology expert Dr. Sue Kornbluth. Good morning to you.
Kornbluth?
All. This is a stunning case, to say the least. And there's so many unanswered questions, right? How she was injured, what these injuries were in particular, but just hearing her neck, that she has a neck injury and she's given smoothies. Sonny Slaughter, would you start us off? Your thoughts?
Man, that is crazy as hell.
Please.
Susanna, thanks for the sticks. Y'all, we got 6 more of those things. What are they?
Good morning, Julie, and my entire amazing panel. I'm glad to be back. This case is very disturbing, as you said. It is painful to think that parents would not immediately go and take care of a child that even seemed injured and in pain and distress. But I agree with the law enforcement expert, because as law enforcement professionals, they should not ever go out and make assumptions without facts. So evidence and facts matter. Having a delay about what caused the injuries is really important, so we don't speculate, because you can't come back later and try to clean it up. So I think it's really critical for them to do the work that they need to make a determination as to what exactly happened with this particular child. And this case is just inflaming no matter what happened, that parents didn't respond.
It sure is. You're so right, Sonny. You're so right. I agree with all of that. Thank you for that. I've got a clip. This is going to inflame all of you more. And Dr. Sue, especially you, you're a parenting expert. I'm going to come to you on the other side of this one. This is the sheriff talking about mom. Take a listen to what he says mom's reaction was to all of this.
Did they show any kind of remorse so far?
A little bit, maybe.
Well, not really. Not like a regular.
No,
parent or mother.
No, not like you or I or any of us probably would. The mother, as my investigator said, not really at all. The stepdad did exhibit some remorse.
No, she's the one that had that look in that mugshot.
Not really at all. Dr. Sue, your thoughts? What's going on here, please?
Susanna, thank you.
I mean, is this very surprising to me that she didn't have remorse? Absolutely not. Look, I think in these kinds of cases where we're dealing with a history of welfare checks, let's remember this, that she is probably trying to cover up her own behaviors here. Again, we don't know what happened, but I'm suspicious about the mother, and that the mother did cause these injuries to the daughter. Now, when somebody doesn't have remorse, Julie, and you know what we think.
Oh, hell, they think the mom did it.
First, right, is she's a sociopath, because that's the symptom that goes along without having any remorse. But as a mother myself, and my child was injured, I would be crying. I would show signs of fear and anxiety and compassion, and not having any remorse, right? Does kind of point the finger that something suspicious is really going on here.
Definitely. Dr. Sue, thank you for all of that. Kirk Nurmi, your reaction when you heard about this case, you heard about the allegations with the parents and the age of this child. What did you think, please?
Yeah, it's shockingly disturbing, right? And you pose the question, what were they thinking? And of course they weren't, right? So what it leads me to speculate is two different things. We talked about addiction as it related to Matthew Perry last segment. I'm wondering if there's some addiction issues. These are the kind that maybe don't make the headlines. Maybe they got away with for years, because that kind of thinking would maybe perhaps be the thinking of an addict. The other supposition, of course, is what has been raised, is the specter of these other injuries. Were they actually trying to cover up their child abuse in a way that it wouldn't be detected with these vitamin smoothies, I guess? So those are some, and of course it could be a combination thereof. But I think that's probably ultimately what we're going to see is dealing with here, that we're, as we peel this onion back, we're going to see that unfortunately this child was probably a victim of abuse at the hands of drug-addicted parents.
Good idea.
That's a really great thought, Kirk, that this might have been what's behind that. As we know, so much is being kept under wraps as this investigation unfolds. But I think I appreciate you saying what I think a lot of us were thinking. You know, you have to wonder. You have to wonder how someone's judgment could be so impaired, so as not to get this child medical attention. And we don't know, again, the particular injuries. You heard the sheriff in that clip that we played moments ago saying they're holding that back. So we don't know exactly what led up to her death. But Sheriff David Soward, like many of us, wonder why the parents waited to seek help.
Just for the sake of argument, throw out how the injuries occurred. Throw that out the window. You still have a duty as a parent to provide medical care for a 12-year-old child. And that's what we're talking about right here.
Oh, she was only 12, y'all.
We're not talking about them assaulting the child, trying to kill the child or anything like that. We're talking about them failing to act and get that 12-year-old girl medical attention like she should have gotten.
Stella, thank you.
Okay, now, according to police, Miranda Sips experienced a trauma to her neck, but was only able to flutter her eyes and move her hands before eventually dying from her injuries. The child's mother released on $200,000 bond. On Thursday, that's when she bonded out.
What?
You what?
She got bond?
Stepdad still in custody. Both are facing a top count of causing serious injury to a child. That's a first-degree felony. Okay, so it seems like what the sheriff was clarifying there was, it seems like he wasn't blaming them for the injury itself, just the lack of care after the fact and what they did after the fact that may have exacerbated this or failed to help remedy whatever was going on here. So our question, could those failures point to more guilt here? Is there more to this story? Let's bring back in our power panel. Sunny Slaughter, I want to go back to you, please. Your thoughts on what we may see come here?
I think, you know, based on the way the sheriff was talking and even his response, he seemed very disturbed that the parents did not do what they should have done, and that is seek immediate medical attention. I think that we're going to see severe allegations and that this could lead to more guilt and charges with these particular parents.
Right, Sunny. Dr. Sue, to you next, please. Your thoughts.
I think, you know, the sheriff said it right in one of his press conferences when he said that the basic job of a parent, right, Julie, is to protect their child from harm. And they did not do that in this situation, no matter how those injuries came. They did not seek out medical help right away. Instead, they tried to treat this young, beautiful young girl with smoothies and vitamins. I mean, it just violates to me what a parent's job is to take their child to a hospital and get them evaluated. There are people that don't believe in traditional,
unless they were scared because they did it. You know what I mean?
medicine, but something doesn't smell right to me here. And giving a smoothie with vitamins to help someone that's fluttering their eyes is definitely not the way to help a child and protect them.
No, certainly not, Dr. Sue.
Unreal.
I keep thinking about, you hope this child wasn't in an enormous amount of pain, but who knows? I mean, with a neck injury, I can't imagine. I would just think it's probably safe to assume that she was in a tremendous amount of pain. Kirk Nerman, would you take us home here, please? How do you see this case playing out, and what more may be forthcoming in the way of charges for these parents?
I think it's interesting, Julie, that the stepfather's in custody and the mother's not. And one of the things that I say that's interesting is because ultimately,
yeah, that part's crazy as hell too.
Then they have leverage over him. Someone who is in custody is more likely to talk, more likely to cut a deal they want out. Maybe they'll get their bond reduced, maybe the charges, what have you. So it's a real possibility here, depending on what's going on, that maybe if they can get one of these parents to talk, they can get more information exactly what was going on. Because some of these injuries, if she's a cheerleader, they might be difficult to discern how they were taken in. So getting one parent to talk could be a key in this case, Julie.
That's right. Whoa. That's right. Excellent points you just made there, Kirk. Thank you for all.
Oh, snap. By the way, TikTok, hit the follow button if you're new here. My name's Patrick. We do these true crime live streams every night. So come on in, hit the follow button, join the family. Same thing on YouTube, y'all. We're live on YouTube as well. The Mystery Project. If you want to watch the videos with us, YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button if you're new. And let's continue on. Shiloh, thank you. Flojo, thank you. And y'all, hit me with those little bear things. This is what TikTok wants right now. Go for it.
All of that. And I know we have to say goodbye to you, but thank you for your expertise, Kirk Nerman. Always a pleasure. Dr. Sue and Sunny are going to stay with us. And it is Members Only Monday, in case you forgot, my friends. And I want to share with you what our armchair attorneys are saying about the smoothie on our exclusive YouTube page. Here we go. Erica says, quote, would they be thinking smoothies and vitamins or any sort of medical treatment if one of them were the one with injuries? They either weren't thinking at all, or they were thinking only of protecting their own behinds at the child's expense. Erica, I love what you are saying. Preach. And True Crime and Wine couple says, quote, if the reason is to cover up abuse, this is even more heinous. Oh boy, couldn't agree with you both more. I love those comments.
Right. Patrick, what was her name? Last name was Sips. What was her first name, y'all? They said it in the very beginning. I can't remember her first name. That's heartbreaking, though. Bunny Baby, thanks for the follow. All right, let's keep going. The next one we got. Missing mom of 3 allegedly by husband who claims she packed up and left. Oh, hell.
Larry Millete, May's husband, is responsible.
Oh, I remember this girl.
Responsible for May's murder and disappearance.
Yeah, I remember her.
More than 3 years after police say a woman was murdered by her husband, her sister becomes the guardian for her 3 children. I'll tell you everything we know about the murder of Maya Millete so far and why her husband, Larry, is accused of killing her despite her body never being found. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Maya Millete had 3 children with her husband, Larry, when she disappeared from their home in Chula Vista outside of San Diego back in January of 2021. Maya, who also went by May, was a devoted mother to 3 children, but the San Diego County District Attorney says Maya wasn't happy in her marriage.
That starting in 2020 and continuing until January 7 of 2021, May wanted a divorce.
Oh, hell. Y'all, isn't this the one where the guy paid like $500 for a spell to make his wife fall back in love with him? Do y'all remember that? I think we watched something about this a while back. And he was paying people to do like online rituals and stuff like that. Oh my God, I remember this dude.
For many reasons. Her husband, Larry, did not want the divorce. May was committed to her 3 young children. They were the center of her life. She wanted to continue being a parent, and she tried to negotiate that they can be parents to their children, but not subject the children to a toxic relationship. But Larry would not have it. In homicide cases, there's often a triggering event. In this case, on January 7 of 2021, May was no longer talking about divorce. She took that step, and the last call recorded that May made was to a divorce attorney.
That was DA Summer Stephan. She said that Larry knew that Maya had contacted a divorce attorney and that she was serious about leaving him.
When she called the divorce attorney on January 7, we know that Larry was aware because he sent text messages that were screenshot to his boss that let him know that this was final, that it was coming.
In fact, Stephan said Larry had become so desperate to hold on to Maya that he had even tried casting spells on her. Yes, you heard me right.
Larry was...
Man, you were crazy as hell for that.
You what?
Looks like you accidentally casted the behind bars Zionis.
trying to hold on to
What an idiot.
May, and he resorted to contacting what are called spellcasters. I've never had a case where that was involved. These spellcasters would be asked to make May want to stay in the relationship.
Man, instead of paying some random people on the internet to cast a spell, why not just be a better dude? Why not be a better husband? Why not be a better person? Why not work on yourself and figure out and communicate with her what the issues are and why she doesn't want to be with you anymore? Probably because you thought casting spells on her was going to fix it instead of just manning up and doing whatever the hell it is you need to do to keep that relationship. Damn, that's a hard one, you moron. God, go rot in prison and then burn in hell.
But as December of 2020 came, those messages to spellcasters were a lot more threatening. He was asking for May to become incapacitated, for May to be in an accident, to have broken bones so that she could stay at home, thus displaying his homicidal idea.
Dear Lord, yeah, gee, I wonder why she wanted to leave you. You wanted her to be stuck in bed with broken bones. Yeah, a wad, exactly, Gracie.
Ideations to harm May.
Everyone who knew Maya said her 3 children were the most important thing in her life. Her world revolved around them. The DA says that Larry Millete made a decision that he couldn't take back on January 7th of 2021. He took Maya's life.
Count 1 alleges that Larry Millete unlawfully killed May on or about January 7th of 2021.
The announcement of Larry Millete being charged with Maya's murder came on October 19th, 2021, more than 10 months after she was reported missing. Maya's sister and members of the community had searched for Maya tirelessly, hoping to find her alive.
May was loved by her.
Didn't he like not even do the searches either? He was like, oh, well, if she comes home, I want to be home. Man, straight to jail when you say something stupid like that. If she happens to come home, I don't want the house to be empty.
Family and friends, and was committed to her children. May's murder and disappearance has impacted so many over the past 9 months, including many people who had never even met May. Yet they rallied around her family and helped keep May's disappearance in the spotlight.
The DA and the
Susanna, thank you.
Police chief outlined
Almost
why
there.
they believed Larry Millete murdered Maya. They said cameras in the neighborhood actually recorded 9 loud bangs just before 10 p.m. on January 7th, 2021. However, the FBI could not identify those bangs as gunshots.
May's phone activity stopped on January 8th at 1:25 a.m. Security video retained by Chula Vista PD showed the defendant on January 8th at 5:58 a.m. in the morning moving his Lexus GX460, a black Lexus, with the license plate that bears the name Melani. The Lexus was already backed into the driveway, but Larry Millete repositioned that Lexus where the back of the Lexus is in the entrance of that garage. He repositioned it where no video camera can capture whether a body was put in the back of the Lexus or not.
At 6:45 a.m. on January 8th, 2021, the DA says that Larry Millete left his home, leaving his cell phone behind for 11 hours and 21 minutes.
On that date, his employer was calling frantically, January 8th. He even called May, saying this is not like Larry not to show up to work, and wondering where Larry was.
Oh, hell.
His father called, checking where he is, but no response. The phone was not operating.
To this day, Maya's body has not been found, but the DA doesn't believe that that will be a problem in prosecuting Larry Millete for murder.
Damn.
California law, and similar to across the nation, is very clear that the murder charges, that we can file murder charges despite not having a body. In fact, the law is so crystal clear that we cannot let someone murder someone and gain a benefit by hiding the body in a way that we can't discover it. In fact, there is case law that we will be using in this case that makes it even more clear that a missing body is circumstantial evidence that there was foul play and that it's a murder. Because somebody who takes their own life cannot hide their own body. We filed this case based on the evidence that was developed during an extensive 9-month investigation.
The murder of Maya Millete has been a tragedy for her children and her sister, Mary Chris Juliet, who broke down speaking of the betrayal she felt at that press conference in October of 2021.
It's been really hard. He's a family. He's our family. It's hard to.
Oh, God, I can't even imagine. Like, she's probably been in the room with that guy, you know? If she has kids, they've been around that dude. That's like Uncle, whatever the hell his name is. Damn.
It's hard to go against a family. He's been with us for 20 years.
20 years of marriage? Oh, hell.
My sister did love him. She gave him 3 kids. He just can't let go.
For his part, Larry Millete has pleaded not guilty to the murder charge.
Oh, Lord.
And he has said that he did not kill Maya.
Man, you crazy.
The children were in the care of Larry's parents until last week, when a judge awarded Mary Chris and her husband guardianship of Maya's children. CBS 8 in San Diego reported that the Druliers' attorney had presented a judge with evidence that Larry Millete's parents had tried to turn the children, now ages 14, 13, and 8, against Maya's family and had created a toxic environment for the children. The Druliers' lawyer also said the elder Milletes had been coaching the children to stop mental health treatment. The court orders.
His parents did all that?
How dare you?
Man, he's going to burn in hell. Y'all going to burn in hell for that.
said the children were supposed to start living with the Druliers this past weekend at the latest. The attorney for the Druliers, Scott Finkbeiner, declined my request for an interview, calling this a sensitive case. Randy Kessler is a family law attorney. Randy, thanks so much for coming on. Your thoughts on this? I find this interesting that Maya Millete's sister was able to go to court and win custody of her sister's children.
It is interesting. And to me, as a family lawyer, it's terrible that so often these divorce and murder intersect, right? It just shouldn't be. They're just family shouldn't, they have enough going through with the trauma of the death of the father. Of the mother. But what's interesting to me is that dad has all the rights, right? He's the remaining parent, and parents always have the first right to have custody of their children. Since he wasn't able to take
Even if they're incarcerated?
care of the children, he still gets to designate who takes care of his kids. So his parents were in charge for a while. It seems like justice finally caught up with the
That is crazy as hell.
facts on the ground, so to speak, that, you know, if they were doing a great job, they would have kept custody. So that's what the outsider divorce lawyer me sees in it, is that they weren't doing a great job according to this judge, because they weren't letting the kids have a good relationship with mom's parents and mom's family. Sounds like the house was going to go into foreclosure.
Oh, hell, man. That's crazy as hell.
Who knows how much they were telling the kids about the situation. It would have been interesting to be in that courtroom and watch the evidence firsthand.
And cameras weren't allowed in for this. You know, this is a guardianship hearing, and so it's a very sensitive matter. Larry Millete, you know, maintains he didn't kill Maya, and this is one of those cases where, you know, her body still has never been found. But, you know, the prosecutors say he indeed murdered her because she was going to leave him. What's interesting too,
Man, you crazy as hell.
the grandparents were not represented by counsel, so they went in and represented themselves, and they
That's crazy. Like, you're gonna leave me. Get a dog, bro. Like, just what did you think was gonna happen? Somebody else was gonna be like, oh, my knight in shining armor. No. You ruined one relationship and then took her out. You'd ruin every other relationship. In fact, you did. You ruined every other potential relationship you could ever have in your life. You ruined a relationship with your kids. You ruined your kids' relationship with their grandparents on both sides. All for what? All for what? Because you were a piece of garbage and she didn't want to be associated with a piece of garbage anymore?
You what?
Man, you crazy as hell for that one. You crazy as hell for that one. Let's keep going.
They said, you know, they thought they were doing a good job. But also, the family of the aunt who now has custody of the children, Mary Chris Drulier, their lawyer said basically that the grandparents were poisoning the children against the other side of the family. And
oh, man, I thought she meant like all Sixth Sense style. Whoo, that's crazy as hell. But they were like the relationships. Okay.
Coaching the kids to stop mental health treatment. You know, a forensic psychologist vouched for Mary Chris Drulier and said that she should have custody of the children, that this was in the best interest of the children. So it sounds like they went in there prepared to present their case with counsel, with an expert, to say this is why it's in the best interest of these children to be removed from the care of their grandparents.
Right. And to me, it's always better to go in with a lawyer, with a good lawyer, of course. Doesn't mean you're going to win. The facts are the facts are the facts. But there are two things that having counsel does. There are two advantages. One is they know how to preserve error. Like if the judge made a mistake and let in evidence he shouldn't have, the lawyers would know that, and they would know that they have an appealable issue. The side that didn't have lawyers may not be able to appeal it. They may not have been prepared for an appeal. The other thing is strategically. You know, lawyers do this over and over. They
strategery.
Know what's going to affect the judge. They know what evidence is relevant, admissible. And there might have been good evidence on the grandparent side that they couldn't get in because it was hearsay and they didn't know the rules of hearsay, that you can't say what somebody that isn't present said. So having lawyers absolutely is an advantage. But in a case like this, judges are going to look beyond the lawyers and they're going to really try to dig deep and figure out what's best for these children. One other interesting thing that you mentioned is that it's a guardianship and not full custody. Dad may be acquitted. And if he gets acquitted, he's going to jump back to the head of the line for custody of these children.
Yeah, and that's always a possibility. I mean, that could happen. The trial is probably going to be held next year. His lawyers are
That is crazy as hell.
asking.
You know what else is a possibility? Actually, it's a certainty. I'm gonna have a big ass bowl of chili after this live stream. I'm hungry.
To push the case back, to delay it, so they can prepare a little longer. But it's just a really sad case. I mean, these are children who've lost their mother,
and
her body's
potentially their father.
never been found
At allegedly their father's hands.
But they are 14, 13, and 8 years old, and they need a stable environment. I mean, these are children who they've lost both parents, essentially. I mean, dad is in jail facing charges for murder. Mom, is presumed dead. Dad's charged with murdering them. They need a stable environment with people who are going to provide a loving environment and who are going to nurture them and help them become productive members of society. I mean, this is a situation that no person would envy.
Right. It's a very difficult situation. And I don't envy the judge either, because yes, long term, the judge decided that mom's family, mom's sister would be better off to be stable for the children and be in their best interest. But there was a change again. They've already had the change of the absence of their mother. And now they've been living in their same home for the last few years. They've been living with dad's parents for the last few years. And so those are going to change too. The judge must have had some pretty good evidence in front of him to decide that it's worth changing them out of their current home, their current caregivers, to a new.
Oh, hell. Can you imagine? Yeah. Michelle, thank you for subscribing on TikTok. YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get 200 likes. Thanks for the follows, TikTok. Not quite as many people coming in tonight, but thanks for the follows. The Gray Horse, I see you hitting that follow button. Thank you for the love. Who else is in here? K-Ween, thank you. Norma Taze, Mama Bear, Shimon, a chicken. That's awesome. Sarah, Rose, you guys are sweet. Thank you for the love. Let's continue.
Person, the aunt, they know the aunt, of course. But yes, long term, how do judges do this? And I'll tell you something. Every time we go in front of a judge and we ask, how do you feel about handling custody cases? Every judge I know would say, I'd rather handle a murder case because I have to decide how to affect these children's lives, and I have a lot to do with it. Murder, that happened, all we're doing is punishing. But with children, it's really a big burden for the judge. And I'm sure he didn't take this lightly and looked at the evidence very seriously.
It's an incredibly sad case.
Whoa.
And I think we all know that the judge felt that what was best for these children, what was in their best interest, was to go with Mary Chris Druillier, Maya's sister. Thank you so much, Randy Kessler, for coming on.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Is he going to get acquitted, y'all? I don't know. All right, this one says, beauty queen accused of plotting husband's red rum was strangled by a new boyfriend. Man, this is crazy as hell. This is the lady. Remember, she's the one that went down to the Bahamas and she had her little Bahama, her little Bahama boy. Shiver, is that her last name? Lindsay, right? Man, y'all, I need a new one. I'm down to the damn end of this chapstick. When you gotta start acting stupid, being like I got bingo dauber action going on right now. Trying to bingo dauber myself on here. Anyways, I'll shut up and let's keep going. Hit the follow button if you're new here.
A former beauty queen accused of plotting the murder of her husband with a lover in the Bahamas is leveling accusations of her own against her latest boyfriend.
Oh, hell, you crazy as hell.
We're breaking down what we're able to find out about him and the allegations, as well as the latest on her murder for hire case, all with trial attorney.
Is she back in the States? Use a Q-tip to get... Oh, that's not a bad idea, Ash.
Attorney Bob Hilla. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Webb.
Jay Webb. What you doing, Jay Webb?
Now, we've told you before about Lindsay Shiver. She's the mom of 3 boys accused of plotting with her boyfriend in the Bahamas to have her estranged NFL player husband killed. Now, it might not surprise
NFL player? What? That dude did not play in the NFL, did he? That's not real life.
You to learn that Shiver and her husband Robert, they were going through quite a contentious divorce.
What'd he do? Was he the kicker?
With allegations of domestic violence and withholding their children from each other.
We have filed for divorce.
Okay.
Living in the same house. It's hell on earth, as you can imagine.
Okay.
So as you saw, police were called out to the couple's multi-million-dollar home several times for complaints. And in July of 2023, police in Thomasville, Georgia, that's near the Florida line, they responded to the home because Robert and the boys were headed to the Bahamas on a private plane, and it seems Lindsay wanted to go too.
So for the last 3 weeks, maybe longer, she's had her couple's trip planned with her boyfriend to go to Key West.
Okay, but she just said you're going.
That was to Key West. I'm taking my kids, my 3 boys, to the Bahamas this morning.
Our kids.
Our kids.
What the hell? Y'all, he did play in the NFL. And now he's dating Savannah Chrisley?
You what?
Oh, hell. Man, this is crazy. That's a crazy. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, let's keep going.
Yesterday, she sent a message saying that she's going to change her plans and now get on the airplane with me and the kids to go to the Bahamas.
But I am too,
And
by
when
the
we
way.
land, she's going to go to her boyfriend.
Elsewhere.
And me and the kids are going to our house. And I've told her I'm not supporting that. And you're not getting on the airplane. That can mess with the kids' heads. And it's just something we're not going to do.
In situations like this, the best thing that we always recommend is y'all separate. Don't just separate from each other. You don't need to be going on vacation together if you file for divorce and it's obviously a volatile situation.
Okay, and according to Bahamian authorities, on this same day, Lindsay and her Bahamian boyfriend plotted the murder for hire plot against her husband. So Terrence Bethel was a bartender in the Bahamas. Authorities named him as an alleged co-conspirator. They reportedly recruited this man, Farron Newbold Jr., to carry out the hit. He has also been charged by Bahamian police alongside Bethel and Shiver. And police there say they uncovered the plot when they suspected the bartender of committing an unrelated crime, and they went through his phone. So cops examined Shiver's iPhone, and they discovered that she had allegedly sent Newbold Jr., quote, several pictures of her husband, Robert Shiver, along with a text saying, kill him. This is according to court documents.
God.
There's also an alleged confession from Shiver to the police in the Bahamas that she apparently told Bethel she wanted to kill Robert, and Bethel said he wanted to kill him too. But she also said that she was just venting. She was just angry. She never actually wanted to do him any harm. That's probably going to be a defense that she puts forward. She was arrested and jailed in Nassau in July of 2023. She got out on $100,000 bail. She has to wear an ankle monitor. She wasn't allowed to leave the island. But last December, the judge in the Bahamas agreed that Shiver could return to the U.S. to see her children and live with her parents in Alabama. She still has to wear the ankle monitor, and she can't travel to Georgia, where Robert and the boys live. Now, at the time of her release, her attorney, Owen Wells, said, quote, she continues to face the legal process with complete transparency and honesty. Lindsay is looking forward to getting this ordeal behind her, and most importantly, she is looking forward to being reunited with her young children who have been without their mother for many months. Now, since her return, the former Miss County 2005, yes, former beauty queen, is apparently dating again.
2005, though?
And this is where a whole slew of new problems come along. Why? Because according to new court documents from Alabama, things aren't going so well. And that's what we want to talk about right now, because Shiver filed a protection order against 35-year-old Dorsey Robert Love in Houston County on July 29th. She claims Love threw her onto a bed, tried to choke her, suffocate her with a pillow at a home in Dothan, Alabama. She also claims that he abused her on an earlier trip to Florida, but says she didn't report that to police. And she wrote in the protection order request, quote, he threatened to kill me.
Oh, Lord.
Love was arrested on July 31st. He was charged with strangulation. Now, we have found multiple mugshots out there for Mr. Love, but we haven't been able to independently verify the exact charges that he's faced or any convictions. As for Shiver, her trial in the Bahamas is expected to begin in October of this year. made of questions right here. I want to bring in, first time here on Sidebar, trial attorney Bob Hilla. Bob, good to see you. So for anybody who doesn't know, Bob and I have appeared together on.
And Bob looks like he's about to give out the green jacket at the Masters. Holy hell. He's like, well, coming down the 10th fairway is going to be a bit rough today, Jesse. Oh, shit. Oh, wrong channel.
Long Crime Network for years. I was on, I think, like last week, the week before. I said, how come you haven't been on Sidebar? And that is when you told me, I don't like you, Jesse. I don't want to be on. But despite your wishes, you're on now.
Well, thank you for having me here today. It's great to be back with you.
Good to see you. So how does this development fit into the overall story? And most importantly, how does this fit into the Bahamas case in any which way?
I don't know that it really does. I mean, it's a separate incident, and it shows that her choice in men may be somewhat questionable. But the issue really is on this Love person and what his actions were. He doesn't seem to be related in any way to any plot in the Bahamas to kill her husband. So with respect to whether or not anything in that case leads into the other one in the Bahamas, I just don't think it does, unless he starts to say, she told me some things.
And then he could be called as a witness in the Bahamas.
Right.
Oh, hell. Is it Rooks? Thanks for the $10 super sticker. So very sweet of you.
Right.
Is that you and your puppy dog in that picture?
Because I don't know, if you take these allegations was true, what led to this physical altercation between the couple. I will tell you, look, he's innocent until proven guilty. Right. These are accusations. I have to say there is a little bit of overlap here, because we remember in that body cam video that we played, she had accused Robert of getting physical with her. And she says in the video, that doesn't mean you get aggressive and push me out of the way. And he goes, Lindsay, I did not push you or anything. So assuming he's telling the truth, there's I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but could it also be, if she wasn't telling the truth about Robert, could she not be telling the truth about this individual?
Well, credibility is always an issue in any case. And usually the adverse side is always looking to probe that. You know, sometimes for a proof basis to establish an element of an offense. In this case, it might be used to attack her if she says something that the government in the Bahamas doesn't like and says, oh, we have other instances where she has not been accurate. But again, there's a question, was she inaccurate? You know, who really told the truth there? So the credibility issue would have to be where there's an inconsistency in what somebody said, not just where somebody's challenged what they said as true.
And that case, this new case, is not going to get resolved before the Bahamas case, assuming it goes to trial before.
Oh, Lord. Ruckman, thanks for gifting a membership.
So the question I have is, if she were to testify, let's say, the reason I asked that is because I was thinking, let's say he's found not guilty. Let's say it turns out she made it up. If she were to take the stand in the Bahamas, and I'm not an expert on Bahamian law, but I wonder if she could be questioned about this incident.
Obviously, it'd be up to the judge to decide whether it's relevant in the case. I mean, Bahamian law, as I understand it, and I'm not an expert on it either, but is not too different from the United States in certain respects. In other words, there'll be a jury trial here. The government has to prove that there is a conspiracy, that it's a credible plot, and not just, you know, something that hatched because of an angry spouse. And there are some problems with the case unless there's more evidence that hasn't been revealed yet. And that may be the case in the Bahamas. But in terms of something that she would say in the case with Love, you know, again, they have an alleged confession from her. They have a WhatsApp statement to someone else. I don't know that anything that she would say to Love about abuse or fake accusations about abuse would apply in the case there. Because he doesn't accuse her. Love doesn't accuse her of abusing her.
Right.
It would be different if it showed a violent tendency, perhaps. But again, it's a stretch.
It's just an interesting development when it comes to this. And I think about the case that she's currently facing. Do you think it's relevant at all that she's dating while she's, I mean, essentially accused in a murder for hire plot? Does that strike you as strange at all?
Well, she's not going to look.
Man, that's crazy. That one dude, the guy that she was dating or whatever, that lived in the Bahamas, that is arrested for this also. I wonder if he's sitting there like, what the hell, Lindsay? You said you love me. We were gonna make this work. I'm doing time for you. And she's back in the States like, who? Who are you?
Like Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm here. I mean, this is a woman, and it's an interesting relationship because here she was going to go to Key West with her boyfriend, but then decides to join her husband and 3 children on a private plane. But then when she gets to the Bahamas,
Yeah, that's crazy.
she's going to stay with the same boyfriend somewhere else in the Bahamas, but just wanted to get on. So one of the
Ash, I can't on TikTok, but you can come over to YouTube and watch the video with us just so you can actually see it. The Mystery Project on YouTube. And y'all hit me with those little crown things. Come on.
questions is going to be, did she create that scenario and getting the cops there? And was that some sort of a setup to say that she was a victim of abuse? And that's why she responded in the way she did. But again, it's a stretch on that. They're going to look at what happened in the Bahamas. The problem with the case there with Shiver is you don't have any history of her having any communications on a plot before that same day of the argument in the driveway and the alleged plot discussion down in the Bahamas. That was all the same day. So you don't have issues on that. There is a monetary issue here because...
Before you go to the money, what do you mean by the same day? In the sense, why is that a problem?
Well, I think that plots, conspiracies, first of all, you have to have an agreement to commit a crime.
Correct.
Lindy.
So it seems like they have that element here. And then there has to be some action, though, in furtherance of that conspiracy. It doesn't have to be that they attempted to kill the person.
Oh, damn.
But they have to go get a weapon. They have to go, there has to be something to show they're actually going to intend to carry out this crime. That, to me, seems like there's some evidence that's lacking here in the Bahamas on that, unless, as I said before, they have something that they're not sharing yet.
That could be very well true. But if you send a picture to somebody, allegedly send the pictures and say, kill them.
Right.
Is that enough?
I don't think it is. I'm not sure how the Bahamas would treat that.
What happens if there's an exchange of money?
Well, that's another thing. I mean, there is an issue here. Now, there was a divorce, so they already knew about the divorce. But there was a lot of money involved here. Now, if he does die, as I understand Georgia law, then the divorce disappears because it evaporates because the spouse is no longer living. Now it gets kicked over to inheritance law. So if he doesn't have a will that cuts her out, then whatever he would be entitled to would then perhaps go to her. These people had a lot of money.
Yeah.
So there could be a monetary motivation here, and it may be a monetary motivation for the boyfriend to even be involved if he was standing to gain. But again, I didn't see anything where there was a discussion about exchange of money. Even Newbold, there's nothing that I saw that said he was going to get anything for this murder.
Right.
And usually, there's at least something about, hey, I'll pay you $10,000 or I'll pay you $15,000 for this, or the money will be. There's some sort of description here. All you have is an angry spouse with a boyfriend in proximity to her husband down in the islands, and she's saying, kill him, and then she sends photographs and directs him. But then what happens after that apparently is nothing.
By the way, let me ask you a question. If the charges were dropped or she's found not guilty, does that affect her ability to reunite with her children? Would there be any legal mechanism by which Robert could ultimately say, in light of everything, she shouldn't
There's KK, thank you. Just saw that.
be around the kids, but she's innocent. So what legal mechanisms could he use to prevent her from being near the children? Because I don't know if there could be.
Well, and I'm not sure.
Accusation charges in and of themselves is probably not.
And that's a great point. I'm not sure there are either.
Yeah.
But it depends. If you go to a trial and there are proofs that are in, and there's evidence and there's a record and a transcription of that record or other documents and things, and that establishes a basis for him to say she's a danger to the children.
Right.
The focus would always be on the children, as I understand, with family court. So, unless there's something to show that she's a threat to him or can create a toxic environment for those children because of her relationship with him, then
that's fair, because you don't always have to be found guilty of a crime to lose access to your children, right? There could be other things and the standard could be lower there. Just generally speaking, before I let you go on this, Have you seen murder for hire cases where the defense is, I was angry. I wasn't serious.
Cats,
Is that
howdy,
the
man.
best defense and the most successful defense?
I'll answer that in two parts. The first,
That is crazy as hell, though. Don, thank you. Howdy, ma'am. Susanna, howdy, ma'am.
I haven't seen anything where there's not a greater development than there was here.
Sure.
I mean, there's usually a period of time where things are leading up to the critical discussion, and then there's some activity after that to start getting in place to commit the crime.
Yeah.
Now, is it enough?
Wendy, howdy, ma'am.
It depends on what happens if there's a proof of an agreement, as there seems to be here, and then they go ahead and they do something on that to further advance that plan, that plot, then it becomes a credible plot. But the question's going to be, what is that significant issue? If they go out and buy a weapon, I'd argue with you, yes.
Yeah. And sadly, a lot of the murder for hire plots I actually cover end up with someone dead. And then it becomes a question, I wasn't involved, I wasn't serious, they took it into their own hands. But if you take these allegations as true, and that she really did want this to happen to her husband or estranged husband, it is a miracle. And I think we should all be thankful that this father was not killed and that these children were not left without a father, because this could have ended much worse. But again, she is innocent until proven guilty, at least in our United States. And, these are accusations. We'll see how it ultimately gets prosecuted and when. But it's just an interesting development nonetheless about another aspect of her life coming into this.
Well,
pretty crazy.
And it doesn't help her in her perspective to a jury. But then again, that's going to be the argument. Does this have any linkage to this case? And is it too unduly prejudicial?
Well,
if everything's prejudicial in a trial for one side or the other, it's a question whether it's unfairly prejudicial.
It made the news. And so if you're talking about jury selection here in the United States, what do you know about Lindsay Shiver? Have you seen,
true.
Saw that something happened with this restraining order. It made the news. And that's not something I think she wants, or anybody who represents her wants, is her making news in the middle of this. But Bob Hilla, good seeing you. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
Oh my God. So much craziness tonight, y'all. YouTube, hit the thumbs up button for me. Hit the subscribe button before you go. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I love you guys. I'm out of here. Good night. Have a wonderful evening. And I'll see y'all tomorrow.